genuinely like, what does Jackson Ford need to do to get recruited? It's a bit ridiculous. Hello guys, it's 899 here and welcome to today's video, and today we're going to go through our tips predictions for round 15 of the 2026 NRL season. Last week we needed to bounce back after a 1 of 8, but we ended up going pretty well, 6 of 8, which is fairly decent. But now we go into a shorter round, of course, because we're right near the door of Origin 2, so it'll be interesting. But without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off on Thursday, we have the South Sydney Rabbitohs taking on the Brisbane Broncos. The Bunnies are coming off a 14-point loss to Manly, whilst the Broncos are coming off an absolute thrilling match, but going down to the Gold Coast Titans. Now, in terms of team news, both teams going to be affected due to Origin and other things. So for South Sydney, you've got Cameron Murray, Campbell Graham and Sean Keppie out. Whilst for the Broncos, you've got Katoni Staggs, Payne Haas, Reece Walsh and Vara Semu out as well. Brisbane sort of kind of lost at the moment, while South Sydney still just clinging on to their spot in the Aids. It's probably a game where both teams really need to win, because there's starting to be a little bit of a gap forming between teams. I think it's around 10th to the rest of the comp. So I think it's important for the Broncos to also get a win to try to close the gap. But I'm going to say that I think that with the players out, I'm going to give it to South Sydney to get the win. I think it will be maybe somewhat close, but I think it could probably still end up being 13 plus, maybe like a 14-point win for South Sydney. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. And now we go into the Friday match, which at 8 PM we have the Dolphins taking on the Sydney Roosters in a top 6 clash. The Dolphins are coming off putting the smackdown on the North Queensland Cowboys, whilst the Roosters are coming off holding the minor premiers from last year to 0 in a 26-0 win. So obviously very good from the Roosters, but in terms of outs, there's a lot for both. So for the Dolphins, Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, Kulikefu Finifawaki, Max Plath, Selwyn Cobbo and Thomas Flegler out. For the Roosters, James Tedesco, Lindsay Collins, Mark Nwangani-Tawase, Reece Robson, Robert Toya, Sam Walker and Victor Radley. You could build a pretty decent team with those players. So this will be more of a crapshoot there. Obviously the Dolphins sitting in 5th place, looking to try to close in on trying to get into the top 4. Roosters trying to stay into the top 4 and are going decent. Currently the Dolphins are the favourites to win this game. I think this will just be a battle of who's got the bigger depth in the squad. And it'd be nice to see some younger players come into the fray and, you know, taking their chances. In terms of this, I'm actually going to go against the odds. I'm going to say that I think the Roosters win this. I just think, I don't know, it's a bit of a coin flip with the amount of players that are out, but should be good to see. And I think, I don't know, if the Roosters win this, they could be contenders. Yeah, very much so. Now we go into the Saturday matches, where at 5:30 we have the New Zealand Warriors taking on the Cronulla Sharks in another top 6 clash. The Warriors are coming off the bye from last week, while the Cronulla Sharks are coming off a 34-12 win over the Dragons, stopping any type of, double back-to-back wins. Now, in terms of players being out for the Warriors, you've got James Fisher-Harris, Leka Halasima, Luke Hanson and Sam Healy. Whilst for the Sharks, you've got Adam Fanua-Blake and Britton Nakora, which is, two pretty solid outs there for them, obviously competing in Origin. Then the Warriors have just been going really good. Sharks starting to show that, yes, they can be competitive. Just be nice to see they become consistent with it, which I feel like has been their problem for the last couple of years. 2nd versus 6th should be an interesting game, but I'm just going to give the edge out to the Warriors. I think the Warriors have just been a class above this year, and we're starting to get to a point where it's like, man, they really actually could make the grand final, and chaos would occur. Now, in a bit of a stark change from the previous 2 matches, we are now going to go to the opposite end of the table as we have a battle of the bottom 4 teams, as we have the Parramatta Eels taking on the Raiders at 7:35. Parramatta are coming off a loss yesterday to the Bulldogs in a 14-12 defeat, in a match that be described as, gee, I hope the King wasn't watching. Whilst the Raiders are coming off being held scoreless at their home ground in a 26-0 loss to the Roosters. In terms of outs, no one really for the Raiders, but for Canberra, you got Ethan Strange, Hudson Young and Savelia Tamale out. So pretty much, no real changes there for the Eels, and still, even the betting favourites still leaning towards the Raiders. The thing is I think in terms of this match, I feel like this is the kind of win that Parramatta desperately need. Like, they're now one spot above the Wooden Spooners, currently in that position, which is the Dragons. So they need to get a win from somewhere. And I think it's going to happen here. I think they're going to get the win over the Canberra Raiders. Could be a close one, but I feel like it's just something they need to get done, because the club can't really afford to be in another spoon bowl again. And now finally we go to the Sunday match, where at 4:05 PM at Leichhardt Oval, we have the West Tigers taking on the Gold Coast Titans. Now the West Tigers are coming off, I mean, to be honest, the words I could describe for this match would get this video immediately taken down, in a 68-0 loss to the Panthers. Whilst the Titans are coming off Keone Keamney, more like Keone Keamney, nailed it, setting himself out as an absolute ball-out player in a 28-23 win over the Broncos. It is interesting, ever since the announcement that Luai was going to be going to Papua New Guinea, that the Tigers have just kind of capitulated a little bit. It's like, maybe don't celebrate 3 games in a row like you've won the grand final. That's me. But yeah, in terms of players that are out, Abasai Coruscant, Tolentino Tavana, Gerald Skelton and Royce Hunt are out, whilst Chris Randall, Jojo Fafita and Tuna Vasul Malawi are out for the Titans. I feel like for this game, the Tigers need a game to wake themselves up, and I feel like this could be the one that they're able to get it done. But if the Titans get another one on the road, I mean, that's going to put some interesting situations. But yeah, I do think the Tigers should be able to get the win here, and it should be a good match. You know, I like Leichhardt overall. I know there's been the whole arguments about suburban grounds. I like suburban grounds. One's an exception, but yeah, I think Tigers should get the gun. And that is the end of the round. Who do you guys have for this week? Let me know in the comments below. Tomorrow we should have the State of Origin Game 2 preview and predictions out, so that should be good. So yeah, bit of content going through as we power through June. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.